Well, it's a pleasure to be chatting to Shane Tritton. Of course, the latest news being that we have extended invitations for the Australian reps for the IRT Harness Jewels, announcing Falcon stride for the 4-year-old Emerald and Pete's Big Gym for the 3-year-old Emerald. And first and foremost, Shane, you must be thrilled to be coming back to have another crack at the Jewels.
Yeah, definitely. Me and Lauren have always, tried to do our best for our owners to get them in the best races, and the Jewels is a very unique concept, and it's kind of a chance to represent your country in a way, and we're sort of more doing it for the owners' sake, just to give them the opportunity to experience that.
Yeah, and of course this time, Shane, you'll be heading to Addington Raceway, so that'll be a bit of a highlight for you and Lauren as well. Yeah,
definitely. We've raced there a few times, and it's a really good track and good facility. So it should be exciting, and it's always hard to go there and take them on, but we got close last year, and hopefully we can go one better.
Yeah, you got some beautiful draws last year as well, so fingers crossed for this time around too. And just quickly on Pete's Big Gym, he really stepped up to the mark last year.
Yeah, look, he's an interesting little horse. We're certainly not bringing him because we don't think he's capable. He went very close to winning last year, and he's had a pretty, how would you call it, checkered year of problems. He had a mouth issue where he ripped some teeth out of his mouth just before he started racing last prep, and then he had some soreness issues in his feet. And to his credit, he still had a pretty good season, running and placing in a Group 1, and just sort of doing as good as he could under the circumstances. But I'm pretty happy with how he is at the moment, and I think he's ready to peak again and hopefully go one better.
Fantastic. And I know the Connections were really happy to be here last year, so we're going to chat to Peter Kohlsdorf soon about bringing the horse back. But the other representative that you've had the invitation for, Shane, is Falcon stride. Now, looks like he's lightly raced, but has a ton of promise about him.
Oh, look, he's a very good horse. Probably very underrated. He's always been a horse that we've taken. Emilio that owns him has taken a lot of time and instructions to us has always been look after him and let him mature, because he's a big growth sort of horse. But he's very, very good, and I'd almost back him in to sit on the back of any one of my horses and run past them. So he's certainly good enough to be going, and if he can get a little bit of luck, he certainly won't disgrace himself.
No, well, he's won a feature recently, and that was the Campbelltown. Now, I see that the times he's been running recently too, over a mile, Shane, he just seems to be improving on those mile times.
Oh, definitely. Look, and he's a horse, I've said to several times, that if he could ever sit in a Miracle Mile and they go 48, I've got no doubt he'd be good enough to be there. And wow. This will be a good step for him, and I'm really excited about him. I think I know it's a very strong division, don't get me wrong, I know who I'm coming to race, but he's a horse that a lot of people won't know a lot about, but he'll turn some heads at the top of the straight if he can be close enough.
Oh wow, well I'm sure there'll be people climbing onto those futures markets for Falcon stride. And in terms of the travel, Shane, do you think he'll adapt with that as well, being a 4-year-old and only lightly raced but mature enough for that?
Well, look, it's always hard. We travelled a horse over there called Suave Stuilombo, and he's probably the most unlikely horse to have ever dealt with the travelling, and he did it fine. So, it's more maturity, and I think the horses, will be better from it. Travelling them is always a good chance to let them mature and bond, and I think that's a big bonus with coming. But in saying that, you don't know these things until you take these things on. So I know Pete's Big Gym will deal with it fine. He did it good last year, but with Falcon, I guess we'll just have to see what happens. But look, I'm pretty happy with him, and he's right where he needs to be, and I think, like I said, he's probably a bit of an X factor.
Fabulous. Well, we can't wait to see him here, and Pete's Big Gym as well. Shane, of course, we've had She's All Rock win as an Australian horse, but not an Australian trained winner as yet. So I'm sure you and Lauren are pretty keen to take that title. Oh,
well, look, we keep coming, and, we have to race against probably half a field full of Purdons, but at the end of the day, Lauren's probably like I said, the best driver, I think, in Australia, and I think we've got horses that are certainly good enough. It'd be nice to come there one day with one that's just too good, but end of the day, that's hard to do when you've got Purdon with horses like, turning up and have liked. But end of the day, like I said, we'll go there. And look, last year everyone said we were crazy, and we got beat a nose. So I think this year we probably need a bit of luck again with the draws, but we've probably got horses that are good enough to take advantage of that and hopefully be good enough to represent our country.
Well, we're absolutely thrilled to have you and Lauren back for the Harness Jewels. So congratulations, Shane, and we'll catch you in a few weeks at Addington.
Beautiful, thank you.
Well, of course, as we've mentioned, Pete's Big Jim is going to be representing Australia yet again in the 3-year-old Emerald this time. And joining me is owner Peter Kohlsdorf. Peter, congratulations. And how are you feeling knowing that you're going to be back in New Zealand with Pete's Big Jim?
Oh, it's actually fantastic, Jess. It's hardly sank in, to be honest. It's I've been thinking about it since last year's final when we got beaten a neck by another masterpiece. And I thought, well, we're going to set a program for this horse with the main goal trying to get back to the Jewels if at all possible. And there's been a lot of horses that have fallen away, and there's been a lot of good horses who haven't accepted, and we've had a bit of a checkered run in recent times. But our horses still had an impressive year, and I think Shane's still got a very high opinion of the horse, and I haven't wavered one bit. I still think I've got a real top-line horse here.
Yeah, and Shane did mention, we chatted to him earlier, that he has had his fair share of bad luck too with mouth issues and the likes, but even on raw ability last year he proved that he is well and truly deserving of being back at the Jewels. Yeah,
he definitely has improved. I think just on times alone we ran about a 153.5 at Cambridge, and we also ran that in a trial just leading up to it at Menangle, and even though we had a series of hiccups with injuries in the big races, which curtailed our chances there. We had a nice run in our MD Garrard's auction race at Menangle. We won that race from Easy Dag, a New Zealand horse. Actually just got over the neck of us, but we ran a 152.9. But the real highlight was probably the Simpson Sprint. Our horse was lame all the week, as Shane may have mentioned in his interview, and he was struggling to get the horse to the race. And on the Saturday morning before the race, he said, "Look, we need to go around for fitness. We can't win. We're just running around the back of the field and just for a bit of fitness." And anyway, he ran fourth all the way behind Muscle Factory. He ran that 1:49.6, which is the fastest time in the Southern Hemisphere. Yeah. And Big Jim went 1:50.51 lame, and Shane came up out the race shaking his head in disbelief. And then we went to Victoria, and we nearly won the first heat of the Big Bread. We finished third in the Big Bread in the first heat, and a bit of luck in that one as well. And then he got a terrible virus, and from then it was just injury and all, hiccup after hiccup. But he's back. We gave him a nice little spell. He's back with Shane. Shane's very happy with him, and we're trying to get him cherry ripe for the 1st of June.
Oh, wonderful. And I know last year at Cambridge you were able to attend a few of the functions leading into Harness Jewels Day. This year, Peter, are you intending on coming to Christchurch a bit earlier and partaking in those events again? Yeah,
absolutely. Darren mentioned there's a function on the Thursday night where the colours are handed out. I'll most certainly be there and look forward to that, and look forward to having another chat to Mick Guerin if Mick's around.
For sure, and of course there's a golf tournament on the Friday, and I know that you're a big golfing man yourself. Can you explain for a bit about your golfing background for those who aren't aware of it, Peter?
Oh, I've been a professional golfer, a member of the Australian PGA for 44 years. I played the professional circuit in the 70s. And against Greg Norman, Jack Nicklaus, I played in a lot of tournaments where those fellas played in, and played a lot of junior golf against Greg Norman. And I won 165 junior tournaments in my younger career. I won a few pro tournaments, only smaller ones, 2-day events, 1-day events. But I had an eye issue. I had to have corneal graft operations in the late 70s, and so I got out of the playing side and became a club professional. And I've been a club professional at 3 different clubs for 19 years, and in 1983 I opened up Pete's Golf Connection, which was the biggest golf shop in the country at the time, and I've had 14 golf shops in my career. I'm currently running the biggest golf complex in Australia, called the Canberra International Golf Centre, and it's still going. We've got a 1,500 metre square showroom, two-storey driving range, which is 64 bays. It's a day-night driving range with heaters and automatic tees. And we've got a day-night pitch and putt golf course.
Yeah.
And across the road from our complex, I also run the Capital Public Golf Course. So I'm very busy. I haven't played hardly any golf, so my golf will be very, very ordinary. I'm too busy with the harness horses. I've now got 4 horses, which I bought at the auction at Menangle 18 months ago, and I've had not only Pete's Big Jim, but I've got another one called Pete Said So. It's won 17 starts for 4 wins, 4 seconds and 4 thirds. So I'm having a lot of fun with my horses as well.
Oh, that is wonderful. And of course, from going to representing Australia in golf, you're now representing Australia yet again in harness racing. So, Peter, thank you so much for your time. As I say, it's a pleasure to have you and Pete's Big Jim back. It was a real thrill to see him go so close last year, and we're looking forward to hosting you and the team again.
We really appreciate the opportunity, Jess, and thank Harness New Zealand for the invitation. We're going to give it our best shot again.
We are thrilled to announce that returning again to the Harness Jewels are Yabby Dam Racing, and of course they were here with Dance Craze last year, who did the team proud, and Majestic Player will be representing Australia this time around in the 4-year-old Ruby. Congratulations, Pat Driscoll. How are you feeling knowing that you're coming back across to this side of the ditch?
I'm elated. We're very honoured and privileged, obviously, to get the invite, and provided the horses pulled up all right from Saturday night, we're definitely coming.
Gee, the horse looks so suited to short course racing as well, given that explosive gate speed he has.
Yeah, well, he's a bit of a story. He's been a bit of a stable star. His name's Huey, and he's come from nowhere because as a young horse and a 2-year-old, he was short in stature, gangly, and everyone loved him because he tried, but he couldn't trot. So each year he's just got better and better. So from the horse's point of view, it's a wonderful story of horses turning out that have a wonderful will to win, don't have the gate, but over time they overcome that, and he just seems to be getting better every start.
It's fantastic. And of course, a bit of a Kiwi connection being that he is out of another player, so plenty of Kiwis will be looking forward to him returning to New Zealand or the bloodlines. In terms of coming back to the Jewels, Pat, I know Dance Craze did you very proud last year, and that trip really seemed to put her in good stead for some wonderful races that she's won in the past year.
Yeah, no, she's a very nice mare. We've always had a high opinion of her. And the trip across, really did seem to benefit her. It's a bit like going to Sydney from Melbourne, taking her, across to New Zealand, and I think it can really make a horse, particularly if they have a good experience. And we were, lucky enough to be well looked after when we went across to compete in Cambridge, and the horse had a great experience, and has come back and benefit wonderfully from it.
Yeah, exactly, including a great Southern Star, phenomenal win in that event. And will you personally be coming back for the Jewels to attend in Christchurch, Pat?
I believe so. I seem to be crossing New Zealand every second week at the moment, but at this stage it's my intention to come back, because I think if Huey draws a good barrier, I think even though it's a very strong crop of 4-year-olds, I think he's got an excellent chance.
Fantastic. Of course, we still haven't officially had an Australian trained winner, so I'm sure Anton will be very keen to pick that up. And you must be really proud too of Anton and his team and the whole unit checking out the website, Pat. A specialist trotting farm, specialist European training and trotting bloodlines. You guys just really live and breathe the Square Gators.
Yeah, it's something I've been quite passionate about, and a lot of people say it's probably a little bit crazy in that extent, but I think the breed's developing nicely in both New Zealand and Australia, and I think it's still the only little black spot on in the harness, so I think it has over time has a reasonably bright future.
Oh, most certainly. And as a trotting enthusiast, Pat, you must be thrilled with the variety and the calibre of trotting stallions that in Australasia we now have access to.
Yeah, one of the things we've been very fortunate about is through frozen semen in particular, having access to the best genetics from America and Europe. And with a small trotting base, one thing I've noticed is the explosion in the quality of the stock because of our access to these good stallions. What's happened is a lot of the breeders have taken advantage of this, and our breeders come ahead in leaps and bounds that normally probably wouldn't happen in America or even in France and Sweden, etc., because we have been a bit privileged by some of the the better studs overseas, allowing us to have their genetics. So I think that long term will stand us in great stead for a vibrant industry.
Most certainly, and as I say, congratulations again on coming back to the Jewels, because we're thrilled with the way Dance Craze has gone on and done the team proud. So we're really excited to have Majestic Player here, and I'm sure, hopefully, you get that good draw, and potentially Yabby Dam Racing might have a Group 1 from New Zealand to hang on the mantelpiece.
Yeah, well, here's hoping. I mean, it's racing, and everyone's probably wanting a good draw, particularly in the Jewels. So, we're just thrilled to be part of it, and hopefully luck goes our way, and who knows.